going to hand over to Dr. Levi for the welcome address.
All right, thanks, Afe. Do you want to stop sharing? Because I think this is an epic moment for the African students of optometry. And I did kind of take some time to jot down things that I had in mind and shared with the group as well. I did share with the presenters so they could have a read, but I'm just quickly going to summarize what today is about for us. And yeah, thanks for joining us from everywhere you're joining from Africa. In the platform, we've got 23 universities represented. And I think when we started this, we only wanted 2 students for each school to be part of the WhatsApp platform, just to co-design this group so it works for the students. And I think at this point we've progressed just in a little bit less than 2 months. We've had our second meeting is today, and the energy, the engagement, the suggestions, and what you guys have creating your motto, the name of the group, is all co-designed. People agreed to it. Has really been magical to watch. And I think that really tells the testimony of the desire for African students to excel in the things that we do. I guess this is where is really something that I'm committed to. And I think the Academy has always pushed and supported initiatives like that brings excellence to optometry practice. And just as a tradition here in Australia, we do pay respect to the country that we're sitting on. We call that acknowledgement of country. That's part of the tradition. Because we recognize that the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders, who are the original owners of the land here, have not ceded this land to anyone. They've looked after this land for years ago and beautifully. And so they've given us the opportunity to be sitting here today. I'm sitting in the Wiradjuri Nation, and I'm speaking to you from that nation, where we really acknowledge what they've done for us to be able to be here. So I pay my respect to their elders, past, present, and emerging. And I also extend that respect to any Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander person who is sitting here today. I do acknowledge their presence as well. So I'm very delighted to really welcome you all to this great event, where we want to introduce the American Academy of Optometry to African optometry students. This is the first of its kind. To the best of my knowledge, this hasn't happened before. So it's a pleasure to have each of you here today. And as we look at exploring the incredible opportunity that the AAO offers in the field of optometry to really expand your horizon. I also want to extend my warm welcome to the esteemed speakers who have really joined us. Kati has joined us as well. And I mean, this is a great moment because their time is precious. And for both of them to be able to make their calendar available to be part of this group, it really is, it just shows the support that we get from the Academy at every step of the way. So I really appreciate that. Today's session is really of importance to every one of us here. If we understand the process of becoming a student member of the Academy, we are unlocking a wealth of potentials. There are resources, there are connections, there is professional development that then opens up to you, to be able to do those things that you've always dreamt of, to be the best practitioner that you want to be, and to offer services to optometry in different dimensions, not just patient care. Many of us didn't have this opportunity, even though it existed then, we didn't know. No one told us. We found our way somehow, did some good stuff, and we got to where we are now. But if we had these connections and we had these open doors, it may have been different for many of the folks that I talked to. So I think our ability to be able to shine the light where we've been and say, look, the opportunity is here that you can actually be a better practitioner is really why this is important to me. And to let you know, we ran a questionnaire I think early this year with the optometrists who are currently practicing. Most of them have practiced for 40 years, 30 years. And 302 people responded. That's the result of that questionnaire is going to be presented at the academy, hopefully if the abstract gets accepted. But what we found was astonishing. 77.2% of those who participated in that questionnaire said they were intending to apply for the fellowship of the academy. However, 82% of these individuals did not know how to become a fellow. The process was strange to many of them. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know where to start from. And this is where our mentorship with the African chapter all began. Now we go through the process, we're mentoring people. And for the first time in the academy last year, we had 12 African optometrists get the fellowship of the American Academy of Optometry. That has never happened before. In fact, the whole list of 50 people that we got was over the years that the academy had run. But in a single year, we got 12 people who went through the process and got the fellowship. Some other ones deferred them, some did not go through, but they're all making it this year. And this year, we had 662 people sign up. On that process now, we've gotten up to 13 people who are already in the process and maybe the ones going through, although there'll be more coming through. So this is where we are today. And seeing the opportunity open up to the students, it's something that we cannot underestimate the impact it is going to have across the African continent. So I do want us to take this very seriously and make sure that we use this opportunity wisely and be able to use it to impact the globe. Let them know about Africa and all those great stuff that you think about that you're doing. And if I quote from the 44th president of the United States, Barack Obama, in his speech, he said, "Never underestimate the power of young minds and fresh perspectives. It is often these people who dare to dream, innovate, and challenge the status quo, paving the way for extraordinary achievements and lasting change." Now, it's always been the myth that you can become a fellow only when you've practiced for 10, 15, 20 years. That's what we knew. That's what we thought. But we know that even as a student, you can become a member of the academy. Even as a fresh graduate, you can actually be a fellow of optometry if you're able to get your 50 points and do the things that you need to do, which is quite easy and a very simple process being a fresh graduate from school. So I think the opportunities are just there. Not for and that will open so many other doors to many of us. I would like to stop here because I've also detailed some of the processes and things I think that academy can help in supporting the African students going forward. I know academy is trying to expand the travel grants. I also want to see where these travel grants are available to optometry students from Africa to experience what the academy meetings look like. I'm also a fellow of the Optical Society of America, and I know they have a student leadership forum where every year students are taken from different schools across the continent, across the globe, and they are sponsored to go in and have a one-day meeting before the actual academy starts. That's how they meet, that's how they interact, they get to know each other just before they graduate. And this is another thing that I think academy should also look at doing, because giving you that experience really makes it easier to become a fellow when you want to be. It exposes you to those opportunities early on, and then you start thinking about them just much in time. There's avenues to donate to conference meetings. We want to start holding student conferences, scientific meetings across Africa where students present their research findings, have interaction, get some criticism, and learn other skills as well that they couldn't get through school. There's sponsorship to attend academy meetings. There's collaborative research opportunities that we can open up between the American chapters and African chapters and different universities across Africa working together. There's also availability for equipment, for outreaches. I remember somebody from Kenya at some point emailed me to send them contact lenses, free contact lenses to use in teaching students, which I did out of my personal, relationship with some companies here. But again, these are things that are not easy. You don't find them easy in Africa. Whereas companies are here asking you to take contact lenses for free in clinics, and here we can throw them away. But there in Africa, people are looking for opportunities to see those free lenses, to trial on patients and to learn how to use contact lenses. So it's just so much. There's so much need, And there's also so much opportunity that we can, as a group, be able to accomplish great things. So I now want to welcome everybody, and I thank you for making time out of your busy schedule to be here. I will end my speech there, and I do want to acknowledge that everybody who is joining here has really made an effort to be here. Some people, it's midnight where you are. And some people, you should be bed now. Some have their families, and they're keeping them awake because they have to be in this meeting. So I do appreciate those time. And I want to ask that this is going to be a very lovely meeting. So keep your minds open, and feel free to make suggestions at any time. Use the chat window if you can. Pop in your name, introduce yourself, tell us where you're joining from. And if there's a question, please do type them in there. The moderators will be looking at those questions, and at the end of the presentation, we'll all have a discussion as well. And don't forget, our election comes up after this meeting, so you can have your leadership board. And after that, I think this will be a great movement to see what happens, going forward. Thanks, everybody, and thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Levi, for that warm welcome. So just moving right along, we have our first presenter, Dr. Katie Connolly. She is chair of Faculty Student Liaison Committee. So right now, we're just gonna have the presentation. If you have any questions, please leave them in the chat. And over to you, Dr. Katie.
All right, thank you very much for the warm welcome. Very happy to be here and present on behalf of the Academy. I am a professor in optometry at Indiana University School of Optometry, so right in the middle of the United States. And I'd also like to, while I'm working on sharing my screen, introduce you to my colleague who is joining me today, and that's Dr. Adrienne Quan. She is also a professor of optometry. She works at the Chicago College of Optometry, so also in the middle of the United States. And we're both here to represent the Academy and happy to provide our knowledge and answer any questions that you may have. I'm going to go ahead and get my screen sharing here. I have a presentation to share with you on behalf of the Academy. And let's see here. Let's take me a moment while I click my buttons through. Right here. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen. Our goal today is to educate you on what the Academy can provide to you, as well as give you better understanding of what it's like to be a student member of the Academy and how to achieve your fellowship in the American Academy of Optometry once you graduate from optometry school. We'll both do our best to answer any questions you may have, but fortunately, we have a very strong support staff that we work with at the Academy who can answer any questions that you guys may have that we cannot. So we'll both be taking notes, and we'll be happy to get back to the group afterwards if there's something that we cannot answer. We both serve as volunteers for the Academy. And so we really are both passionate about the organization and feel it has helped both of our careers tremendously and see how it improves our students' lives. So we've both been willing to spend time working with the Academy to help push their message forward. So the American Academy of Optometry was founded in the early 1900s, and its vision is to inspire excellence in eye care. And core value is all about lifelong learning, excellence, evidence-based care. So we want optometrists to be practicing at the highest level of integrity, collaboration, and collegiate environment. And so we all are members of the Academy because we strive to provide the absolute best patient care that we can. And we use the Academy as a platform to learn what's new and what's coming down the pipeline to stay as high as we can in the research space. And it's really a great opportunity for clinicians to be able to interact with other clinicians from all around the world, right? And have different opportunities. I wouldn't be meeting any of you guys today if I wasn't a member and an active member of the Academy. So we welcome you guys to the Academy. We're happy to have you as one of the official Academy chapters. There's several chapters, some of which are representing states within the United States. Some are provinces in Canada, as well as several countries around the world. So the Academy is well represented around the globe, and we're very excited to add Africa as an official Academy chapter. And who is in the American Academy of Optometry? I think certainly my experience has been where I teach that the students feel that they're going to potentially be an undershadowed or an entity within the organization, and that's really not true. The students comprise almost half of the members within the American Academy of Optometry. And so for that reason, the Academy takes student membership very seriously and wants all of you to be successful and get out of it everything that you possibly can. There are over 6,000 fellows within the American Academy of Optometry, so there's a large mentorship structure in place for our students to be able to learn from those who do have several years of experience. And those fellows are comprised of many different people that are practicing in a lot of different settings. So 21% are like myself and Dr. Quan, we're both academics, but 61% of those who are Academy fellows are practicing optometrists. This might include those that are in private practice, multidisciplinary practices, as well as those that are in federal service. And then of course, within that 21% of academics, we are well balanced among clinical educators, as well as scientists, as well as retired professors and vision related professionals. So we have a wider range of folks with a wider range of expertise within the American Academy of Optometry. Within the ratio, with fellows, it is predominantly, or it's relatively equal between female and male, but now student members, we are representing females quite significantly at 70%. I'm not sure what it's like globally, but here in the United States, certainly optometry students are predominantly female, and that's being represented amongst our student membership. So to become a student member, you guys may already be aware of this, but to do that, you need to apply at the American Academy of Optometry and pay a $30 US one-time fee that will cover you for all years of your optometry program, including 1 year of residency if you do choose to complete a residency. That student membership grants you access to the student fellowship program, which I will cover shortly. It allows you to receive the ability to come to the annual meeting at a discounted rate. And then you'll also be able to stay engaged with the Academy. You'll receive newsletters, other communications, and have access to camaraderie, both virtually as well as in person. Our upcoming meeting this year is actually in Indianapolis, which happens to be in my backyard. It's only about an hour away, which is very rare for me. I've gone to the Academy meeting 10 years in a row, and every year I've had to get on a plane for it. And this is the first time I'm going to be able to drive and potentially even sleep in my own bed. So we're very excited for the Academy to be here in the middle of the United States this year. If you are a student member and are interested, there are pathways for you to be able to attend the annual meeting this coming year. Of course, you guys will have to get on a plane this year, whereas I will not this coming year. So while at the annual meeting, that's really where a lot of the learning comes. The Academy delivers cutting edge education each year at the annual meeting in a large variety of formats. Of course, we provide lectures and workshops, so typically 1 hour seminars, perhaps 2 hour workshops that are hands-on. Last year, I sat as a patient for a workshop that was performing the impulse light therapy for dry eye. And so we had practitioners actually from all over the globe that participated in that workshop. And I was able to get a nice treatment for my dry eye disease, as well as help educate practitioners on the use of that treatment. We do have a paper and poster sessions, as well as plenary session. There's symposia that are specific to different areas within optometry. And then of course, there's a lot of events that are centered specifically around as well as residency education. Within the Academy, not just at the annual meeting, but all throughout the year, there are specific sections. The sections and which are special interest groups are very similar, and they are groups of individuals that are like-minded professionals that are interested in a specific topic. Any member can form a section or a SIG, and the only real difference between the sections and the SIGs is that sections include diplomate programs, so that if you are really interested in an area and you already are a professional that received your fellowship in the Academy, you can write case reports, you'll take written examinations, and go really, really deep into that area of optometry to really show and prove your excellence within the field. For me, I am a member of the binocular vision perception and pediatric optometry section. That is what I teach here at the School of Optometry. I'm also a member of the optometric education section. And so depending on your interests, you may want to join one of these groups. And these groups stay involved throughout the year. I receive monthly updates from the Binocular Vision Perception and Pediatric Optometry group. I've made small group connections within that. And it's really great to have a network of mentors and professionals where I can really learn from them in a small group scale. Unlike at the annual meeting, typically it's a large event, whereas these sections, you can really get to know things in a small group, intimate setting. So as I mentioned, special interest groups are very similar. The difference being that these special interest groups don't have diplomate programs associated with them, but they still have email lists, so you can still stay up to date on their activities as well as their updates. So outside of the meeting as well, more benefits that the Academy can provide you is that the Academy has 2 peer-reviewed journals. The first, which has been available and around for a long time, is the Optometry and Vision Science Journal. This is the primary way that the Academy disseminates innovative science to the membership. It's one of the top journals amongst optometry and ophthalmology field, and members have access to this journal through the web. It's part of your membership fees. You can also access other journal articles. So one really significant benefit, especially to you once you graduate from optometry school and are not affiliated with a university anymore, is that membership within the Academy, you actually have access to journal articles. Those that are not open access, you can receive them through your login from the American Academy of Optometry, because it's difficult sometimes once you graduate from optometry school to have access to literature. So the Academy is a great way to provide you that through both their journal as well as access to other journals as well. For those of us that are clinicians, there is a new journal that the Academy publishes, and that is called the Clinical Insights in Eye Care Journal. So this is an opportunity for clinicians to be able to publish interesting cases, not necessarily peer-reviewed science, but be able to present interesting cases so that those of us that are practicing can learn from our colleagues and hopefully understand better ways to diagnose perhaps unique or rare conditions. So within the Academy, there's really 2 main stages. There's life as a student, so prior to graduation, and then there's life after graduation once you're a practicing optometrist. As a student, you can, of course, attend the meetings. You can be engaged within the Academy within your local chapter, as well as you can become a student fellow, and I'll highlight that program shortly. After graduation, of course, you can still attend the meeting. You can now be a member of the sections and the SIGs. You can become a fellow within the Academy, which I'll outline how to do that. And eventually, if desired, you can become a diplomate within one of those Academy sections. And that process, you do have to become a fellow prior to becoming a diplomate. So student fellowship first, let's talk about that. So as members within the Academy, you can obtain your student fellowship if you come to an annual meeting. And this is an opportunity for you to learn a lot about different areas in optometry. You get to attend lectures, workshops, posters, and really see everything that the Academy has to offer. The way the program is set up, you will have the opportunity to attend every individual type of programming that occurs at the annual meeting, all the different formats. And this is just a way for you to really show that you are interested in learning more. It's a great thing to put on your resume to help you find a job in the future. But it's also a great way for you to sample and learn from different people across the world in different specialties to maybe help spark your interest in things that you maybe haven't considered before that you might want to do after you become a fellow. So there's several benefits to becoming a student fellow in addition to what I just mentioned. And one of which is that you do get complimentary registration for the following year after you've received your student fellowship. But the biggest thing is that it really shows that you are committed to lifelong learning in the Academy after you graduate from optometry school. The fellowship now, FAAO, is once you become a graduated optometrist. And the reason for becoming a fellow, there's many reasons, and most of them are at a personal level. But a lot of it, some of it is about prestige. It really shows that you are at the top of your field, you are highly educated, and provide patient care at a really high level. And you can use those FAAO distinction letters after your optometry degree to show your patients, to show your colleagues and the public that you really are practicing at a very high level. You will be inducted into the Academy's directory, as well as there is typically a presentation for those that receive their fellowship. Sorry, I'm digging around for my laptop battery. I realize it's going to die potentially on me. But the main reason for doing the fellowship is that you are automatically assigned to a mentor. So you're going to be able to learn from someone else, and you're going to learn and grow a lot as you put together your documents in order for you to become a member or a fellow within the Academy. So if you're not like me and you decide not to go into academics, you might ask yourself, why would I want to become a fellow? If the main reason, potentially is to be able to push the career forward, as well as, add to your curriculum vitae, or add to your CV. And really the reason to do it as a practicing clinician is this is a great opportunity to learn. You'll learn from an expert within your field and also with outside of your field. So for me, when I went up for my fellowship, I had a committee of 3 mentors that guided me through the process. One of them was within the binocular vision and pediatric space, but I also had a Veterans Affairs Hospital optometrist on the committee, as well as a private practice optometrist who specialized in ocular disease. So I was able to learn from folks that were like-minded, as well as folks that practice in other areas of optometry than me, so I could gain and really round out my skills and my knowledge level quite a bit more. We'll see if this video works here. If it doesn't, I'm not sure how the audio is going to transfer over. So if it doesn't, we'll skip it. But I think this is a great highlight of really the reason and the benefits for becoming a fellow within the Academy. Let me know if you guys can't hear it. Could you guys hear that? Should I continue?
Yes.
Yes, Dr.
Okay, thank you.
Still with that now at the twins.
Dr. Connolly, you might want to turn up the volume.
Turn it up more.
Yeah.
And then if you guys could mute your microphone if you're not on, it looks like someone I can hear background. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to turn up my volume more.
Sorry, Dr. Connolly, it's lagging a bit and the sound is not as audible.
Yeah.
Okay.
On my
We
side.
can go ahead and skip past it. That's not a problem. I can always share that with you if you any of you want to review it on your own.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you so much, Doc.
Okay, so let's talk about how to become a fellow. So if you're interested in learning more about why you should become a fellow, then that would be, then you guys can watch that video on your own. If you're already convinced, then I will go ahead and talk to you about how to earn your fellowship. So fellowship requires that you obtain 50 points. 10 of those points have to be from a case report. So you're at minimum have to complete 1 written case report. You can receive 20 points for completing additional education. That can either be in the form of an optometry residency, a master's program, or a PhD. You can also receive points for other contributions. That may be posters, that might be publications, it could be lecturing at the academy, it might be being involved in a leadership level within the academy, or if you've written other documents, especially if you've written a book, for example, you can also obtain 20 points for the fellowship in the academy. For those of you that are already, you've been around the career industry for a while, perhaps you were students later, you've already done advanced degrees, you might be able to tap into some of these other areas to receive points. For those of you that are more traditional students, typically it's going to be writing case reports as well as presenting posters at annual meetings across either the world or here in the United States. There are a list of annual meetings that you can submit posters at that count towards the academy. It doesn't have to be just the American Academy of Optometry meeting. I don't have that complete list in front of me. I'm aware of what they are here in the United States, but I'd be happy to inquire with the academy as to what meetings would potentially fall under the umbrella of counting towards 10 points for poster presentations. You can submit 5 case reports, each worth 10 points in order to earn your 50 points, but you don't have to. But at minimum, 10 of the points do need to come from a case report, a written case report. There's many different resources to help you learn how to write case reports, and the Academy has a lot of those mentorship and guidelines available for you. And I'm going to talk about a program here in a moment that I think could be highly advantageous. But certainly if you look around on the Academy website, you can hopefully find some excellent resources and guidelines that will help you complete your written work. The case report guideline section on the Academy website is by far the most helpful. It provides you with example cases as well as formatting, and those are really some great samples to review. I have actually put together a bank of past residents that I've worked with and their submissions, and I'd be happy to share that with anyone that may reach out to me if they wanted to look for samples of case reports to help them, as well as potentially reach out to your faculty that you work with at your schools. I'm sure that they would be happy to help you as you navigate how to write a good case report. For any of you, of course, that are in clinical programs and seeing patients, this could be a great opportunity for you. One of the main things that you're going to get from that fellowship process is mentorship. You're going to be assigned mentors that you aren't familiar with, people that you can learn from, and people that are going to help guide you and help you edit your case reports as you create them. So you do have to put together a draft for those mentors, but it doesn't have to be your final submission. And those folks are going to help you polish and help you learn and grow as you write so that you're finally ready to submit for ultimate approval. Important dates and deadlines for the fellowship process. You do have to submit your first case report by February 1st of whatever year it is that you want to submit and sit for your fellowship at the annual meeting. April 1st, you have to have your second case report in. And then by May 15, you have to have the remaining case reports done or the remaining works done to submit for your full 50 points. By July 15th, you have to have all of your edits done through your mentorship process. And by August 15th, you'll be informed of whether or not you've completed everything at a satisfactory level to be able to sit for the oral examination that would happen at the annual meeting at the American Academy of Optometry. Questions I can ask the Academy for you guys, especially for those of you in Africa, is whether or not you would need to attend that meeting in person. I'm not sure if Dr. Quan knows the answer to that. I know I've had some residents be able to do their oral examination virtually, so there potentially would be opportunity for that through the Academy, but we'd have to ask them those details. And so you can be working on case reports really for quite some time, and you don't have to submit those case reports and have them are sent into your mentor until you are ready to move through the process. I know a lot of folks will be in the background working on case reports for a couple of years as they work towards their fellowship candidacy, and then they will submit them when they are planning on attending the meeting and being able to do the oral meeting that year. You typically have 3 years from start to finish, so you can submit for candidacy, and then you have 3 years to put together all of your written works to be able to then sit sometime within that 3 years for the ultimate oral exam, which will then grant you your fellowship once you've completed the process. I'm not going to go over these in detail. I will provide these to your group afterwards, but the Academy does have helpful infographics to help you map out how you could potentially reach your fellowship in an efficient manner. So they have a process to help you figure out how to do that coming out of a residency program where you can complete your fellowship process in 1 year. They also have a pathway for completing that fellowship within 2 years. And then ultimately, if needed, within 3 years, which is the minimum once you've submitted for candidacy. One program I do want to bring up, which I think could be highly beneficial, is the Fellowship Candidate Crash Course. This is a new course. It's been available. This is now its 2nd year. It started last year as a pilot program and was offered only to students that were working or that were at an American optometry school and were in their 4th year. But it's now been opened up to all practicing optometrists, as well as those that are practicing internationally and students internationally. Your only requirement for being part of this program is that you do need to be in the clinical portion of your training. So as long as you're seeing patients as a student, you can apply for this course. This is something you can do while you're a student or once you graduate, but it is a mentorship program and it guides you through how to complete a written case report. It is, you apply for it in the spring. So right now between April 17th and May 15th for the cycle for 2024, but don't worry, it will be available again next year if you're not quite ready to get yourself submitted within the next 4 years. And then you will be enrolled in a program that's done all virtually and starts in the mid to late summer. So starts in early August, late July, and runs through September. You will be enrolled in a program in which you'll have weekly virtual meetings where you will learn how to write a case report. You will also be provided with a mentor. You'll have one mentor assigned directly to you, where you will work one-on-one with that person to help create a case report. Once you've completed that case report, you will then have a mock oral exam that will be done virtually with that mentor, as well as another professional, to help prepare you for what the actual oral interview would be like once you were to sit for fellowship for the ultimate fellowship within the Academy. So this is a fantastic program for you to learn how to write a case report, how to become a fellow. But the best part is that this also counts towards 10 points for your fellowship in the future. So this is really the first opportunity for a student of optometry to be able to collect 10 points towards your professional fellowship within the Academy. The current student fellowship process that we talked about, that's all about attending the annual meeting, is not something that contributes towards your ultimate fellowship, but this does. So I think this is a great opportunity and a great way to learn more and be assigned to some mentors. So upcoming annual meetings for the Academy, as I mentioned, this year is in Indianapolis, and next year will be in Boston in October 8th to the 11th. And I would love to be able to meet some of you all in person in either Indianapolis or in Boston. Contact information for the Academy is here. And then, of course, any direct questions that you have that either myself or Dr. Quan cannot answer, we're more than happy to take those back to the Academy and get you answers. So with that, I'll open the floor to questions, as well as allow Dr. Quan to add anything in that she would like.
So there was one thing that I did want to clarify regarding the Clinical Insights in Eye Care journal. That's the one where we submit case reports. Students are actually encouraged to submit case reports to that journal. So you don't have to be a practicing clinician to submit your case reports for that journal. We want students to be more involved and engaged. So if you're already in your internship year and you're seeing patients and you think that there's a case that's really interesting and you want to write it up and submit it for publishing, that is a great avenue to do that. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you so much, Dr. Connolly and Dr. Quan, for the very insightful presentation of how we can apply for the Student Fellowship Program and the benefits and reasons for such an opportunity. We are definitely quite privileged to have such information at our disposal. So yes, I'm just going to just check for the questions now. I do have a colleague who's going to be leading the Q&A session. So we are open for questions. Okay, I don't see any in the chat. I'm just browsing through. So I'm just going to ask a question that I have, as I think people are still typing their questions, hopefully. It's just about the case
There's a
report.
question. There's a question there, Connolly. There's a question in the chat.
Okay, Dr.
Two of them also.
Oh, I can see. Thank you, Dr. Levi.
All right.
Everyone. So I'm Nathaniel. I'll be helping out with the question. So there's a question here from one student who wants to know if you need to be a student to attend the academy meeting, or you can attend or can you attend just as an OD student? So that's a question here. I think the question goes to Dr. Katie. So if she could help us with that.
Yes, you can attend the Academy meeting as a student who is not a member of the Academy. You just receive a discount in the registration fee if you are a student member, but I believe you can attend without being a member of the Academy.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. There's another question here that says that can the fellowship be done virtually?
Yes, I need to look into that for you. I know we were doing that when COVID was happening, and I'm not certain if that is allowed now. Dr. Quan, do you know the answer to that for international students?
That one I'm not sure of. I know that it was done in the past, like you said, but we'll just need to get some clarification for you.
All right, thank you very much. So I think we have 3 more questions. Mr. Daniel wants to know if a student graduating this year, I mean 2024, would be eligible to take the crash course next year.
I would say absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
So it is now open to anybody who is going to be a student or a practicing optometrist. It doesn't matter how far out from graduation you are, as long as you're seeing patients.
All right, wonderful. Mr. Mohammed is asking, as an intern optometrist, do you fall inside the student category or the fellow candidates?
As an intern optometrist, if you have not graduated from optometry school, you are considered to be a student member of the Academy. The interesting part for the fellowship candidate crash course is that is the only program in which, as a student, that you can obtain points towards your fellowship that you would obtain once you are a practicing optometrist.
Okay, well noted. Thank you. This question is to Dr. Connolly. You made mention of having a compilation of case reports from some of your mentees. Someone is asking how he or she would get the compilation of the case reports.
Yes, I'm happy to send to you guys the provided information from the Academy, a link to their website, as well as once Dr. Quan and I obtained the answers to some of the questions that we don't know, I'm happy to send an email with further resources as well as answers to those questions to the leadership of your chapter, and they can disseminate that out to the participants in the meeting.
Wonderful. Interesting questions coming in. Someone is asking how much the crash course costs.
I believe the crash course is free of charge. Is that in your perception too, Dr. Quan?
Yeah, it's completely free. You just apply. In the past, or at least last year, they accepted 50 students for the program. So it is an application process, and you will be, your application will be reviewed. The reason why there's a limited number of spots is because we have a limited number of mentors. And we want to make sure that you get that one-on-one interaction with your mentors. So that's why I think we're limiting the number of students who can, or the number of students who can participate to be about 50 at this time.
And if you're really interested for this year, the application deadline is May the 15th, so very soon. So don't hesitate to go online to the website, the Academy website, and look for the fellowship candidate crash course if you do want to submit your application for this year. The application is not very involved. You don't have to have your case report already ready. It's really just an introductory application. And then you would spend the summer sorting out what you're going to actually write your case report on.
All right, thank you. Alberto wants to know if he needs to be on the fellowship to participate in the annual events.
To participate in the annual events, you do not need to be a candidate for fellowship, but if you are either a candidate for fellowship or a fellow, you do receive a discount to attend the annual meeting. I believe the cost is somewhere around 50% to attend the meeting if you are a candidate for fellowship or an actual fellow. Dr. Quan, do you know if you can participate? I think the answer is no. Can you participate in sections or SIGs if you're not an active member, meaning that a fellow or I think no, right?
No, I think you have to be an active member to participate in those SIGs, those specialty interest groups.
All right, thank you. I think we have two more questions here. The person would like to confirm if the case reports will be published in the journal, and is there an APC? If yes, are there waivers?
So for the fellowship process, where you have to complete your 50 points, which would include up to 5 case reports, those case reports do not need to be published in a journal. You can turn them around to be published in a journal, but as you will learn from either going through the candidate crash course or from looking online at the Academy resources or what I send you, you'll learn that the formatting that the Academy utilizes for their case reports is generally not a format that you would typically publish in. And the reason is that the purpose of the fellowship is for you to grow as a clinician, and the mentors, those that are deciding whether or not you meet the standard of becoming a fellow, their goal is to make sure that you're practicing at a high level and thinking deeply. So the purpose of those case reports is to learn about how you practice, how you take care of patients, and how you think. It's not really about presenting a case that's extremely interesting. I actually often coach students that are going through that process and early graduates that it's best to pick a case that's relatively simple, but one in which that you can really highlight your skills and your knowledge. So it's uncommon for those types of cases to be something that you would publish in a journal. Not that you couldn't, depending on the case itself, but it's certainly not a requirement, and quite commonly they are not published in a journal. So if you are interested though in publishing one of those cases, or perhaps a different case, you can always, as Dr. Quan mentioned, publish in the Clinical Insights in Eye Care, which is through the Academy as well, if you are looking for an outlet to be able to publish interesting clinical cases.
And one thing I just wanted to clarify, I think I'm interpreting the question differently. So in order to publish in OVS or in Clinical Insights in Eye Care, there is no article processing charge. So you do not need to pay to have your case reports published in our journals.
All right, thank you. Sean Lee wants to know if he wants to attend the meetings in person. Does he have to do that at his own expenses?
If you want to attend the meetings in person, you can apply for a travel fellowship. I do need to receive clarification from the Academy on what the travel fellowships are available for the students coming from the Africa chapter, but there are student travel grants available. But otherwise, typically, yes, you are responsible for paying for your own travel expenses to attend the meeting.
All right, thank you. One last question, and then my colleague Apelele will take over the moderation again. This is from Enude. Do you need to be a student fellow to apply for the crash course?
You do not need to be a student fellow. And Dr. Quan's going to help me out on this one too, but I do believe you need to be a student member of the Academy, but I do not believe you need to be a student fellow.
That is correct. You don't have to go through the student fellowship process before you apply for the crash course, but you do need to be a student member of Academy to apply for the crash course as a student.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so just the last question coming in. How do you become a student member then?
Go ahead, Dr. Quan, if you've got a good answer for that.
So typically, traditionally, the schools help with the student membership. However, that is something that I will have to probably get back to you on in regards to your universities and your programs, how we can get you guys to become student members, whether you apply as individuals or together as a class. Typically, with our schools, we enroll the entire class to become student members of the Academy. And that way there is a discount actually if you can enroll the entire cohort together. It's a 50% discount in the membership fee for the duration of your schooling. So that I think that's something that Dr. Connolly and I will have to touch base with Academy just to double check to make sure we give you the correct information on how to become a student member.
Yeah, and thanks for that, Dr. Adrienne. I think that's one of the major reasons for this meeting today. because this has never happened in Africa before, so it's a new process for all of us. So I did reach out to Kayla early on to ask what it would take for an African chapter to be able to pioneer this. And I think your contributions and that of Kati, getting that clarification and the linkage will be very useful to us because we can link into all those schools and be the auspicing body to be able to coordinate that. You know, there's a big demand, and we also want to understand that the training process in American schools are different from the training processes in African schools. You know, so those are the things that we need to harmonize what the benefit will be for the students. And obviously the cost is going to be a barrier. So seeing a way that we can eliminate that barrier to be able to give these young people an opportunity to be part of this is really the key to what we want to drive here. So thanks so much for being able to take that on board for us.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Dr. Levi. So Akilele, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nathaniel. And I just want to again say my sincere thanks for your exceptional presentation, Dr. Connolly and Dr. Quan. Thank you for the time you set aside to give us your insights and expertise. It has really made a significant impact on us thinking about, even though we're still students, on us being active on bettering our careers in the field of optometry. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. And hopefully we get to see you soon and you get to see us become, I don't know, good optometrists and yeah, and competent ones. Thank you so much. I guess we are now finished with the discussion forum meeting. Can I hand over to Dr. Levi now?
Yeah, thanks, Afer. Thanks for coordinating this. It's really good to see the skills shine through from things like this. I know having a global meeting, it's always coming with some pressure around it, but you've done really fantastically well in being able to handle this. And thanks for the time. And again, I think my sincere appreciation to both of you, Dr. Quan and Dr. Connolly. It's really great to see you putting your hands up to be in this meeting just in a very short notice. Just shows that commitment. And people don't know this is a voluntary work. They're not being paid to be here. Neither are they being paid for all the things they do for the academy. So it's really good to see that commitment and the service is being appreciated by this chapter. So I thank you all for your time to be here. So please do send us the slides if you can at any time. We'll share them with the group and with the schools as well, because the schools on their own have a student body. We didn't invite everyone. We invite all the African chapter students for it to be a lot, and Zoom may crash. So we are a bit skeptical of how big to throw this out there. So these are all leaders of different optometry schools. Some are serving in the executive board. Some are the presidents of the chapters in their schools. Some are the clinical presidents in their final years. So we have to be a bit selective to be able to see that this can impact the right people and they can take that message forward to their peers in schools as well. So that's why it wasn't really a big set. Wanted to make sure that we capture the right people and make sure they attend as well. So if you share that, I'll send it to them to be able to disseminate to their own peers, and they can also take that forward in their discussion as well. So, and I think going forward here, today is also our elections for the group leaders of the team. So this would usher us into the second phase of this meeting. And I'm happy for you guys to take your leave. If that's fine, to do other things, Quan and Connolly, it's all great to have you. But if you want to sit in, that's fine. They're going to elect their president and their vice presidents today and form a leadership structure that can move this forward. So that's what the second part of this program as well. So I'll hand that over to Annalie and Afalele and Adomabeng. Please, you guys can coordinate. I think Timothy is here as well, who's been coordinating the nominations, and people have raised their hands to be able to lead. I think Tim can let us know what is got on the list, and we can take it from there. And thanks, everyone. If anybody has got any comment as well, that would be great. And before our presenters leave.
It was very nice to meet all of you, and we hope to see you soon.
Thank you for that.
All right, take care. Thank you very much for the invitation to join.
No worries. All right.